from the client or athlete point of view, that's what I would see. And in this example, as an athlete, I have editing access to my interface. That is essentially a dashboard where I can navigate here using the left sidebar menu through different visualizations of the key data in my system. Here, I can see this week's sessions. So I can see I have two full body sessions, and I can see details of those sessions in here. The date, if it is done, I can check it off here. I can see the program it is related to, notes from the trainer here, and then I can see all the exercises for that session. Here there is a video that I can click to see the demo. I can see sets, reps, rest, and all that data. And I can also track here the weight or the time or the reps depending on the exercise, as well as qualitative notes, and I can edit information here freely. I can also see a sessions calendar where I can see all my sessions over time, and I can expand those sessions here on the left hand side. I can also print this out in case I want to take it to the gym in paper format, for example. And then I can see analytics on my PRs. So in here there are weight-based exercises. So these are exercises like squat, bench press, farmer's carry. In here I can filter for specific exercises, and over time I can see here barbell bench press, the 1 rep max recorded on this day was 62.5, and then on this day, on July 14th, the 1 rep max for the same exercise bench press was 68.75. So over time I can see the trajectory of specific exercises, and if I want to filter, for example, for the squat, I can do so here, and now there is no data, otherwise I can only see the back squat tracking here. If I want to see the details of the trackings, I can expand this view, and I will see all the 1 rep max trackings that I have done over time and that are included in the chart. You can see, for example, we can't see back squat, we can't see farmer's carry because we only have 1 recording. So if we add another one, if we track this exercise again in one of the sessions on this here, then that tracking will appear on the analytics view. And the same goes for rep-based exercises and time-based exercises. I can see here my progression over time in charts that looks just like this one. And this is the only data that I have access to as a athlete, that is the interface. Whereas as a personal trainer, I can manage all the programs across every client, edit how the interface looks, and have access to all these tables in here that I'm walking you through in this video later, to have a comprehensive overview in one single place of everything that's going on for my clients in regards to training programs, sessions, their trackings, and I can also manage the interfaces here. Editing the interface. I have an internal interface that I can see here for seeing data at a high level. And then there is the athlete interface, that is the one that is shared with the client and that I showed you before. Here I can also see what are different users or different clients that I invite to the interface see. If I want to preview my interface here, you can see the personal trainer interface. I can see the active programs that are here, where I can also see all these details, and I can duplicate a program if I want quickly without having to go through challenging maneuvers. I can see this month's invoices to send the clients. That's more for the tracking purpose. And I can see client analytics here with KPIs, the active clients, average number of programs, lifetime value, weight change. And these numbers are tracked in the main Airtable base, and then they are aggregated in this KPI view. And I can see the progression. So same graphs that I showed you earlier on the client facing side, but here I can see it across all the clients. So I can quickly filter by client, I can filter by exercise, and see those graphs populated to see the progression over time of the athletes. When it comes to the pricing, if you want to invite your clients to the interface that I showed you earlier with editing or comment access, you will be billed for each client on team that is required, at least to invite external people. You will be billed $20 per person that you invite per month if billed annually, otherwise $24 if billed monthly. Whereas if you only invite clients to the interface with a read access, then their seat will be free and you would only pay for yourself and maybe your internal team members that have access to the interface and the Airtable base in general. If I want to create a new program from scratch, there is a dedicated interface here that is only visible to me as a personal trainer. Create a new program. And the first step is to create a training program. Then we will add all the sessions and the exercises, and we then duplicate those sessions for all the weeks and make any adjustments in the calendar. And then you can also change the volume for sessions here or on the main table for the sessions. So the first step is to create a program. So we'll go here and I will enter the program name. Then I can select the client or leave this empty. That's okay as well. I will set the start date, the end date of the program. Let's make it shorter so that it is easier to visualize. And let's say we have 3 sessions per week. Then I can add notes, training adaptations, goals. I can set the status and the cover image just for aesthetic purposes for the client-facing system. Then I can click on create and this will add the new program. Then I will go to the next step. I will find that program here. I can see the client, sessions per week, notes, and in here I can add sessions. So I will click add session and let's say this is upper A. Here I can select the date, write any notes. I can also open the page for more details. But at first I will add all the sessions and then all the exercises within those sessions. Let's say this is 4 sessions per week. So we have this. Now I can go into each session and add the exercises. So I know this is upper A. I can add notes in here and then exercises. So let's say here we want to do an overhead press, 3 sets, 5 reps, 2 minutes rest, RPE of 8. I'm going to leave this empty and write any notes needed. I can continue here. This will be rope face pulls, 3, 10, 1 minute rest. And once the first session is done, I can go back and do the same for all the sessions. So we'll go to lower and let's say here we have squat and so on until all the exercises on these sessions are done. And now oftentimes in a periodized program, the same sessions will repeat every week and maybe there is variation in the volume or intensity. So let's say that's the case for this program. And to facilitate my work, once I create the first week, so all these sessions are created now, and I just want to duplicate them for all the subsequent weeks of the program. And I know that the program lasts from the start date here to the end date that I set earlier. There are 4 sessions per week. So I can go to duplicate sessions, and here is a similar view. I can see the start date of the program, the end date. If I want, I can adjust it as well. I can see the duration in weeks is 3. So there are 3 weeks, 4 sessions per week. For now, we have the first week. I'm going to duplicate sessions for all the weeks. And you will see that after a few seconds, the training sessions view will be populated with the remaining weeks of the program. And as you can see here, once the automation is run, the button goes back to the original state and you will find all the sessions here. So we have week 1 is from upper A to lower B. Then there is week 2 from upper A2 to lower B2 here. And week 3 from upper A3 to lower B3. So also the naming goes 1 number ahead for each duplicate. And the dates are automatically set. So each session happens 1 week after the one that's been duplicated. So for upper A, for example, this is set on the 18th of August. And that's why the next occurrence of that session, upper A2, happens 1 week later on the 25th. And finally, I can organize the sessions calendar. In here, I will find the sessions. And if I need to, I can move them around. I can open them. And if needed, I can move them on the calendar. I can also open them to see the details, the program, the date, and the exercises, just like before. And that completes the training program creation when you want to create a program from scratch. If instead you want to duplicate the program, there is a dedicated button here on the interface for the personal trainer interface. On active programs, there is a button that says duplicate program. And when you do this, the same process as before happens. Everything happens automatically via an automation on the Airtable base. So the program will get duplicated and all the sessions and all the exercises for those sessions will be duplicated with it automatically. And you will then find that program on the Airtable base in training programs. And here is, for example, a timeline visualization of all the programs over time. So this can be useful to see for each client, for example, how many programs you've had and how they are distributed across different time periods. When it comes to the structure of the Airtable base, in the Data tab, you can find all the tables of this base that allow you to manage all the different objects in the system. And within each table, on the left-hand side, you can find the views of that data. So these are different ways to visualize the data, whether it be through different filtered views, or it could be different visualizations, such as a calendar, a grid, a list, timeline, and so on. In the Automations tab, you will find all the automations that are running in the base, and these are mostly for creating duplicate programs without you having to do anything but just clicking the button, and also to track volume per muscle group that you can then visualize in the personal trainer interface when creating programs. Then there is the interfaces and the forms tabs where you can manage the dashboards and the forms for inputs. But the most important part is the data tab, and the clients table is the first key table where you store all your clients. In here you can see your active clients, meaning the ones where the status is active. That's because each client has a status. because sometimes you might stop working with a client at some point. And when that's the case, you can archive that client so that this view shows only the active clients, and the archived clients will be displayed on the archived clients view. So if I were to move this client to archived, it will be filtered out from here and show up automatically here. Then there is the helper view, and this is just here to filter, as you can read from the description. So that if you want to filter for specific data, you can do so here by adding a condition. Let's say I want to find all the clients where city contains New York. I would do this and then find all those people in this view. And then I can delete this filter if I like. Within each client, you can see there is the user, and this is if you invite them to the interface. This is the feature that allows you to invite them so that they receive an invitation following the flow that I showed you earlier. And then the interface will be automatically filtered for the user. And then you have more qualitative data such as the email, the phone number. There is a profile image, and this will be useful in an upcoming video where I will explain how to create a full custom and mobile-friendly app where your clients can log in with their own credentials. And this app will be built using Airtable, so this base plus software. So that's another much more custom approach to creating your own personal training app fundamentally. Then there is notes on the client. These are internal notes for you, the address, the city, the state, country, all this qualitative data. Then you can see the clients table is linked to other tables in the Airtable base. So there are progress pictures. These are the updates that the client can upload. And this is also related to the app video that I will create in a few weeks. There are invoices for each client. Each client will have one or multiple programs over time, nutrition plans. And then here you can see some qualitative data such as the lifetime value. This is coming from the invoices, so it's automatically calculated from that table. The initial body fat, which you can enter to track the progression over time, and the latest body fat that is automatic based on the progress updates that the client can submit. And this will calculate the body fat change. Then we also track initial weight, latest weight, and the weight change, and the muscle mass. And if you want to track additional metrics, that is totally possible, because once you copy this entire base to your Airtable account, you can also add the columns here, and you can customize everything to make it as useful for your specific approach to training clients as possible. I've tried to include as many use cases as possible and general trackings and metrics, but of course I understand that your use case might be different, and that's okay. That's why this base is a template that you can copy to your own Airtable workspace and then customize to your own liking. So here is a view of all the progress updates that clients will submit over time. Progress updates include the weight, the body fat percentage, the muscle mass. So these are the metrics that I showed you earlier that we track for clients. For example, there can be pictures that here you can view, and notes that the client can submit as well, or that you can write in here. Then there are goals. So goals are objectives that each client has, whether it be losing body fat, gaining muscle mass, and each goal will be related to a client, as you can see here, as well as training programs. And training programs is the key table where all the programs are listed. You can see programs by status to have an overview of what's going on. You can see the active programs in a gallery where you will see all the programs active across your entire client's base. And you can also see the programs in this view that are nested within the clients, and then programs and sub-programs if applicable. Training adaptations is a reference table for the different training adaptations that you can link to programs. And that's mostly for you to track better with the goals of the client, what each program is for, and to be specific on the objective of that program. And then each program will have training sessions. And this is where you will see all the training sessions. If you want to see today's sessions, you can come to this view, and this is a grid view of today's training session. You can also see them in the interface that you have for your own personal training interface. And then you have this week's session, same thing. You can see sessions in a calendar here to plan your schedule, and you can see all sessions. And in all of these views, sessions are always expandable. So if you want to expand the record to see details on a page format, then you can do so. And here you would see all the details of the sessions, all the exercises, the sets, and the volume as well. But the most useful visualization of sessions is in the interface, where you have your own personal training interface. And if you look at the active programs, you can see here at a glance all the data. You can see the volume per muscle group by session. Let's see if we have one that has this data, like this one here, full body strength, phase 1. I can see that's a program. I can see the client, the Simo test, start date, end date. Here I can also edit directly from the interface. without having to go through the more tabular and fixed format of the Airtable base. Then I can see the sessions, subprograms. In this case, there are no programs. And I can see the volume per muscle group by session. So I can see full body A, that is the black one here. And I can see each muscle group on the x-axis and the number of sets on the y-axis. So for example, for full body B, abs, there are 3 sets in total. And that means on the entire program, there are 3 sets per week per muscle group for abs. If I look at glutes instead, there are totally 9 sets per week per muscle group, and these are distributed across sessions. Full body B has 3 sets and full body A has 6 sets. Now, if we go back to the main data tab, then there are exercise trackings, and that's where the tracking happens. So each session will have exercises. And so here you can see for each session, all the exercises included. For example, full body A, I can see there is leg press, and this is targeting these muscle groups, and these are automatic because they are defined in the training movements, table. And then I can see the execution tutorial as well, that you can also customize here in training movements. There's a list of all the exercises, and I added this list together with the tutorial and the other categorizations. So you can definitely add your own exercises and reference videos and information here. And then I can see for this exercise, so leg press in full body A, here I can add some notes like I did here. It could be cues for the client or how to execute the exercise. Then there is sets, reps, time, rest in minutes, RPE, rate of perceived exertion, if applicable. Otherwise you can leave this empty. Percentage of 1 rep max if instead you want to use this tracking mechanism. Otherwise you leave it empty. Then the tracking notes, these are qualitative notes that the client can leave or that you can leave after executing the exercise or at the end of the session in bulk, just to keep track of how things went, form, and anything that you want to track that is qualitative. And then quantitatively you can track the weight. So for leg press, it is a weight-based exercise, so I'm going to track the weight here. Whereas if it is a reps-based exercise, such as pike push-ups, let's say, we know this is going to be body weight, but you want to keep track of how many reps were done. And in this case, we use the tracking reps column or field, as it's called in Airtable. Whereas for an exercise such as farmer's carry, it is both weight as well as time-based. So I can also track both the weight used and how much time the client executed the exercise for. And based on the data that I input here, I can see the 1 rep max for weight-based, for rep-based, and for time-based exercises. And this data doesn't make much sense when viewed in this table, but it is useful when viewed at an aggregate level in the interface that I showed you at the beginning of the video, where you can see here for weight-based exercises, what is the 1 rep max over time. So that's why we do those calculations, so that we can visualize that data in graphs on the interface. There's also a table for nutrition plans, and that's where if you also offer that service, you can track plans, add notes, and this is quite simple because this overall system is more focused on training rather than nutrition plans. But there is this option here, and you can customize it if you have specific needs. But this table allows you to link a specific client, add the calories per day, tag each plan based on specific characteristics that they might have, the duration. You can add notes here, and you can also format these notes freely. When it comes to invoices, you can use the invoices table to keep track of the invoices that you send to clients and their status. There is a Kanban view here that you can use to keep track of the status of invoices and move them around across the different stages. We saw the training movements and muscle groups tables that are just supportive tables to allow you to select the exercises for tracking purposes within each session, so that the client can then track those exercises and you can keep track of everything. The volume per muscle group table as well is a supporting table, and this is automatically populated via an automation. So there is nothing to do here. The purpose of this table is to show you that visualization in the interface that I showed you earlier. So when you go to the active programs view and you open one of these programs, you can then see this chart. That's why that table is there. And when it comes to automations, that's the last part that you need to know about in this interface. And these automations do track volume, as I said here. That's the automation that allows you to have the volume visuals. And then there is also an automation that allows you to duplicate the program and the sessions. To duplicate a program, I can go to the interface here, and whatever program I want to duplicate, I can do so by clicking this button, duplicate program, and this will trigger all the automations, and those automations will create a new copy of this program. Once it's done, the loading stops, And if I go back to data, I can look at the training program and I can see here copy of phase 1 full body. That means that's the copy that was just created. And if I open it, I can see that the training adaptation is the same. I can set the dates, so these are not ported over. And then I can see here the sessions per week are retained. The training sessions are duplicated as well. And I can see where this was duplicated from, just for reference for myself. And I can see all the exercise trackings for each session. So if I go to the sessions table and I look at the sessions by client and by program, you can see here there is no client assigned, but we do have this copy of phase 1 where there are 2 sessions. And this is just like this one, where there is 2 sessions in the original program. And in here, if I open this, I can see the same data was retained, and I can see the exercise trackings here. So if I go to exercise trackings and I look at by program and by session, I can see here there is a copy, and each session has retained the exact same exercises with the exact same data as the original version. And now if I want, I can of course edit the specific data for each exercise. So this makes it very easy for you to essentially go in once you copy this template and add your own programs. And then if you want to duplicate those programs across clients, you can do that just the click of a button, and then just change the client, maybe change the volume over time, and that's it. Then you have that program and you can track things in a centralized manner in your new system. That concludes the overview of the Airtable base, the personal trainer OS. You can find all the relevant links in the description of the video. If you have questions or feedback, leave them down below in the comments of this video or reach out to me directly. You can find the contact information in the description of the video. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.